Hey guys, happy Friday! It's been a couple of days. Well, yesterday was our Valentine's Day show, so that doesn't count. But it is Friday, February 15th. I'm with Pablo Villatoro. Right? Okay, that's close enough. It's my New Jersey slash Florida accent that I have. I'm super excited to have Pablo on. Tyler, what's up, buddy? So apparently you can hear us or see us. We get a thumbs up. Anna, what's going on? I'm very excited to have you on. We've been trying to do this for a long time. It's my schedule, not his. Hi, Tara. Ben Gilbert. So we've got a lot of people popping on a Friday afternoon.
Awesome.
We're just sitting here drinking water.
Yes.
No, we're not. And we're having on a Friday. Come on, it's Friday. But you have such great knowledge and an impact in the community, and so I'm like, I got to get you on. Autumn, what's up? You got to let me know how your show went. We need heart. Oh, you want hearts?
Yeah, we need some hearts.
Yeah, he's the digital guru.
Yeah.
Digital marketing guru. Rebecca Soto. Hey, Bob, TGIF. So welcome, buddy. Thanks for being on the show.
Thank you for having me.
All right, so give them a little background on you, because you picked the title, which I love, How to Market in the Digital Age.
Absolutely.
And I think everybody struggles with it. I don't care how perfect you are. There's still an algorithm you don't know, a platform you're not familiar with. You don't know how to take the right picture. You don't know the right hashtags. Look, we got some hearts.
There we go.
Thank you for the hearts. So I'm very excited. But you weren't born and said, I'm going to be a digital marketer. So give us a little background on you.
So to kind of give you the backstory, so I come from the music industry. So from a very young age, all I've ever known was music from 14, 15 years old.
What kind of music?
Hip hop and R&B. And so so I was in and out of studios my entire life, and the next thing you know, that fast forward, that turns into a deal with Warner Brothers and started.
You had a deal with Warner Brothers?
Yeah, and so out in Nashville, yeah.
Awesome.
And so did that for a long time, and then during that process, a lot of time on the road, a lot of time on planes, a lot of time in tour buses. I love to read and I love to educate myself, and so being number one, really close to a lot of the executives at the record label, and then having a lot of downtime to where I can read, I picked up business along the way, and so business is all about bringing attention. Business is all about bringing eyes to your product or your service, and so that's kind of, you can't be a business if you're not doing marketing.
Right. That's right, guys. So don't give me a hard time all the time when they're like, it's all about you all the time, Ted. But that's what you're supposed to do in your business. You have to put the spotlight on. So tell me a little bit about hip hop, because I'm an old white gentleman. And so tell me, you traveled. Did you write music too? You performed. You were on stage.
So I did that for a long time as an artist, as a writer, as a producer, and so traveled everywhere from, overseas, Amsterdam, and just kind of spent a lot of time just.
I like how we focused on Amsterdam. That's a good one.
Yeah, yeah, and so I actually stopped doing music about 7 years ago, and then from there is where I opened up some of my businesses, and then.
Why did you stop?
So you know what, music took a toll on me. Not only personally, but my family was immediately affected by. Just me not paying attention to the important stuff, being on the road, traveling literally 4 or 5 days out of the week, being on the plane. There's just a lot of things that you just kind of just don't take care of, because you're so focused.
That's your 100% focus, because it has to be. That's your livelihood, first of all.
Absolutely.
But then that industry demands of you so much more, and so you're having to appease a million other people. And then what happens is you and your family and friends, they get pushed to the wayside.
Exactly. And so because of that, I kind of had to hit the e-brake and then kind of just focus back on my personal life, on my family. And then, and that's kind of, and being in the music industry, it's all a formula, If you know the formula, if you know how to chart, if you know how to give the radio what they're looking for, those checks just come in, And
I like to hear that.
And it turned it turned into a pattern, a really 9 to 5. I was doing music more so because of the end goal of getting paid, and where I started
Instead of your passion,
instead of being a passion.
Because doesn't it? It kind of deteriorates it. It takes away from your passion, eats away at it. I have a lot of people who have a passion and they don't want to do it as a business because they're afraid they're going to lose their passion for it. They're afraid that they're going to lose that love for it because
Absolutely.
it becomes so industrialized and so business oriented.
And that's very important. You know, maintaining the passion inside of it, the reason why you're doing it, while at the same time being head smart and knowing how to leverage that for the business aspect of it. Because if you can't fund your passion, then you know what I'm saying.
So was it difficult to make the transition back and out of it? Was it difficult to go out of music? Out of music as the focus. So you had to back up. You decided, all right, I'm going to get out of music. That's not going to be my livelihood anymore. And then was it difficult to do that since you had been immersed in it for so long?
Well, it was. You know, it was a lot of questioning. You know, questioning myself, questioning my purpose. Music was all I ever knew. You know, and then it came to a point where, again, I'm glad that I've always taken the time to develop myself, have good friendships around me, and so which made that pivoting a lot easier.
Sure.
You know, and so. Using that platform, leveraging that influence, you know, I started some of my businesses, and immediately it took off because of those immediate relationships, you know.
So you were able to utilize the relationships that you had built while you're in the music industry.
Absolutely.
To further your businesses when you got out of the music industry. But that's because you obviously did, when you did the education, you self-education, you're trying to grow, you're trying to figure out, understand the whole business world. That was something that interested you, and so now you're out there and you go, okay, I'm done with the music part of it, the traveling, all of that was taking away from your family. Now you're actually going to create a business where you can still do some of the things that you love, but still take care of the people that you love.
Yeah, absolutely. And so transitioning into, I guess you would say, the business market, being an entrepreneur, you know, using those immediate relationships were key. And it's one of the things I tell anybody who has a business, who is wanting to start a business, start with your immediate circle. You know, start with the people that are right around you, you know. And that's why social media is so powerful, because those people are already there. You know, those people are already connected to you. So it's just a matter of communicating the right message about your business or about the service. And so taking that same principle as when I pivoted out of music and I started my businesses, I started immediately with my circle, you know. And I think that especially with social media, those are free tools that you have at your availability.
But that was something, before we go, Anna Mary says she loves your wife's hair. She has amazing hair. I love that. So I think, though, what happens is people you want to promote to your circle, and I agree. Any business you're getting into, that initial circle corner, we did a whole show on that. But you have naysayers too, because you're venturing into something new, unknown territory, maybe something that you're not known for, especially if you're known, like you were, for music the whole time. So how did you have any people that you had to overcome? Did you have to cut some of that circle out? We talk about that on the show sometimes. What did you have to do to make sure that you were surrounded by supportive people?
Well, you know what I've learned through the process is that sometimes a lot of the closest people to you are the biggest naysayers, are the biggest haters. And when I start looking around, some of my biggest supporters are strangers, you know. And so
it happens so much,
and it's unfortunate, you know. It's unfortunate. Like, literally, some of my closest friends literally told me, I don't believe in what you're doing, I don't think you should.
Like,
6 figures later.
Yeah, you proved them
you know,
wrong.
Exactly.
But I'm always amazed at people who say that. Like, if you ask me my opinion, I'm never going to squash somebody else's dream.
And that's
like
a personal journey, man.
Oh, Michelle says, hey, Pablo. I love Michelle Rodriguez.
How's it going?
And hey, John Wild. I think, though, you know, it's one thing to give somebody constructive criticism. Like, I'm worried for you. That's a better way to phrase it.
For sure.
But you don't want to just go, there's no way on the planet you're ever going to succeed in this. I think that is such a negative, horrible... I could never do that to a human being.
Yeah, it's really unfortunate, you know, and a lot of that, those statements divert back from their personal journey.
100%. They are
You know?
projecting 100%.
Exactly.
And a lot of people get in that mindset. Look, if I can't do my dream, I'm going to figure out how you can't do yours either.
Exactly.
There's a lot of squashing the dreams, and so that's you have to figure out your circle at that point and try to narrow it down.
Well, you know what? When I started moving into this new direction, I started with literally with people I didn't know, like that
That's
I had.
cool.
You know what I'm saying? Like even sitting down with you. You know, this has been a relationship that hasn't even like we've seen each other, we've known each other here and there, but you've asked me to come on your show and given me your full support without.
That's true.
It doesn't matter what the past is. It doesn't matter what I think of you. If anything, I'm just going to support 100%, just because I believe in the purpose. I believe in you as a person, and I just want to push you forward.
1,000 times over. But I think a lot of people get so caught up in their own negativity that they have no idea how to be positive with other people.
Exactly.
And if you're surrounded by a whole bunch of people who are negative, it's very difficult to dig your way out of that. So we talk about trying to streamline your negativity and get it out of there. It's not that it's easy, especially if it's close family, close friends.
For sure.
But like Pablo said, some of my biggest supporters for the TED Show have been strangers, people I didn't know, and now I have a great relationship with, but I had no idea going in. And so when they heard the first idea, or when they saw the first couple of shows, Gert Garman, I saw she was on, she was my show number one.
Cool.
I think that they were like, oh my God, this is such a cool concept. But my other people, they were like, God, what are you doing? You're 900 years old, Ted. You're a white guy trying to do a Facebook Live show. What is up with you? But that's a natural thing. I get it. But I was able to weed out the majority of those naysayers, and it was so important to the journey. Like
Absolutely, and what's even more unfortunate is that sometimes these people who get that feedback, it literally does hold them back. You know what I'm saying?
It really does.
Imagine if I would have let that best friend that I considered a brother to hold me back. Number one, I wouldn't have seen the finances that I'm seeing.
Correct.
Number two, I wouldn't be impacting as many people as I'm impacting now, which that at the end of the day is the goal.
Correct.
You know? And so it's really unfortunate, and that goes into another conversation, you know, psychologically speaking, and in that journey, and some of those things, some of those bad traits passed down from family members, you know, and then who knows where that trauma began in their life. And so, but I think at the end of the day, what's most important is that we should try to support each other as much as possible. You know, even if you think that person doesn't have what it takes, at least show the support. And if there's any way that you can aid in that, you know, that's all that should matter.
Michelle says you have a servant's heart, very community driven. I totally agree. And Jason says you're the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with. That's Jim Rohn. And I 100% believe that. I watch people all day long, and they're surrounded by the most negative human beings on the planet.
For sure.
No wonder they can't progress. How can you get out of that negativity all the time?
Exactly.
But it's better for them to deal with the known than it is the unknown of cutting those people out.
Exactly.
And so it can be a challenge. All right, so you decide you get into these businesses. Was social media one of the businesses?
Yeah. So right off the gate, once I pivoted into entrepreneurship, I was at the very beginning cuff of social media marketing. This was before the Gary Vaynerchuks. This was before the Ty Lopez. I'm talking about going back to Malcolm Gladwell, Seth Godin, Michael Hyatt, right where they were at the very beginning stage of building up your platform.
Yes.
You know? And so social media was just one of those areas where as being as young as I was, you know, I was able to catch on quick, and so I was able to catch a lot of clients through that. And so that social I don't think back then we knew how important social media was.
I don't think we did. I think if you were at the beginning, you were just trying to figure out your way through.
Exactly.
You kind of had an inkling, all right, this could be cool, but you didn't understand how powerful it was going to be.
Absolutely. Leads and conversions, leads and conversions happen online now.
Right.
You know, and so so being at the very forefront of that, I was, you know, kind of ahead of the game. And so I was able to kind of capitalize off of that, you know, and kind of be one of the first ones to start, you know, social media marketing, you know, here in our area in Orlando and whatnot.
And how did you, so as you're maneuvering through, because it's unknown territory, you're trying to figure it out, how did you find the right things? Is that, I think, and we can start talking about how to market in the digital, how to market in the digital world, the digital age.
The digital age.
I like that. Because I think a lot of people, they do social media, and they think, all right, this one post, I'm going to do this, and then they don't know how to hashtag it. They don't know how to take the right picture. They don't know how to word it. They don't know if they're too wordy, not too wordy. And so people just throw stuff up against the wall and hope for the best.
Yeah.
But a lot of times that can be a negative thing. So give us some tips, some things that when you're talking about marketing, some things that we can do, and try to target, even though my audience is all over the age spectrum, target that group like it's a 101. Like if all you do is post one thing on Facebook and you're waiting for the phone to ring,
For sure.
You might want to reconsider how you post that one thing.
Yeah. Well, I think back then, I used to recommend our clients to post once a day, kind of thing, maybe 5 days out of the week. Now we're at an age where the life expectancy of a post is maybe 3 hours.
I know, it's nothing anymore.
That is nothing.
And that's only if you can get in the right algorithm to get it in front of the people.
That's if you're responding to the comments. That's if you're engaging. The lifespan of it is 3 hours. And so social media has really become part of work. Like, you have to see it as part of your 9 to 5.
I agree.
Because if you're not, you're still spending time trying to get people into your business,
right?
But you're probably doing it in traditional ways, which now a lot of those strategies are just kind of
they're antiquated extinct. And they're expensive. Some of those,
for sure. I mean,
things.
To get a commercial on TV is still going to cost you $5,000 to $10,000. Now, if you put those $5,000 to $10,000 on Google ads or Facebook ads or Instagram ads, I mean, you can go viral.
But people are overwhelmed by that. So I want to talk about a couple of things. I definitely want to talk about Facebook ads. I think this group, even though I know Google ads in general, there are ads and then there are boosts, right? So two different things. Because I have people tell me, I boosted my post head and nothing came of it. That's different than a Facebook ad.
For sure.
So can you give us a little, 101 it and tell us what that means, just in your experience?
So, like, let's say a Facebook ad is more so you're kind of purchasing sponsorship space at an event per se. You get what I'm saying? You're setting up your booth there, your tent, all of that good stuff, right? It's new audience. A boost is kind of maybe you putting out sign in front of your brick and mortar.
That's good.
You're kind of just boosting the awareness to that traffic that's already kind of coming there. You're not reaching new audience per se. So ads allow you to kind of reach a brand new audience, people that weren't going to see your stuff. Whereas a boost kind of just puts it in front of the people that are already seeing it, and so kind of just allows you to highlight it a little.
And why are people afraid of that? So if you say, let's not talk about boosts, let's talk about ads.
Okay.
So if somebody says, all right, I'm in XYZ industry and I'd like to do a Facebook ad.
For sure.
Most people have absolutely no idea what that even looks like. Like, how do you even engage with Facebook? And we're going to talk about Facebook a little bit, but there's so many other platforms I want to talk about.
For sure.
But how do you even begin to engage that? Like, we have realtors, for example, on, Aaron Luden, like this whole real estate world, they're really trying to figure out how to make the ads work.
For sure.
But you have to really kind of know what you're doing a little bit before you hit that yes button to whatever money you want to spend.
Yeah. Well, see, what's happened in just business, is that before we used to get sold on a lot of stuff, and the industry became really, really gimmicky, And I think over a time we believed the marketing industry on whatever they fed us,
I believe that.
To where now people have smartened up, and they're like, wait a minute, I remember I spent $100 on this. I remember I spent $500 on my P90X. I remember when I, just quick. We were quick. We believed whatever people told us. But now people can do a little bit more research. Now there's the Google reviews. Now there's the TripAdvisors. Now people are able to go on your page and see if what you're selling matches up with who you are.
That's true.
And so to where now business has moved into more so of the person than the actual company.
Yes.
So I tell you, so I give you an example, like let's say a Ty Lopez. Are you familiar with Ty Lopez?
Yes.
All right, what's the name of his company?
Uh-oh, old person.
No.
I'm not supposed to know?
I mean,
I don't know.
Barely anybody
I really
knows.
don't know.
Exactly.
I have absolutely no idea.
Exactly. But you know Ty Lopez.
Yes.
You get what I'm saying?
Yes.
So the importance is on the person, not necessarily the company. You know, and I think social media has given the power back to the person.
Well, I like that because honestly, I've always taught whenever I do any kind of education, I'm always like they're buying you.
Exactly.
So where you're at isn't as important as you, your authenticity. People can believe you, don't believe you. So they're buying you. It doesn't matter what company you're with. It matters that they believe you and they think you're being authentic.
Absolutely, you know, and that's why companies now more than ever are starting to partner up with social media influencers. Why? Because it's the person. It's not necessarily the brand.
Right.
It's more so of the person. That they believe in the integrity of the person. They believe in the story of the person, you know? And that's what social media has done. Social media has allowed people to believe more in the person, to hear more about the person, to see their story, to know them, know their family, know their kids, you know? And people buy into that.
Angelia, you're right. You are your brand. I mean,
Absolutely.
We're both a brand. It's a weird thing to say out loud, but Pablo's a brand, Ted's a brand. You're your own brand, and so people can smell a mile away if you're
For
being
sure.
fake. That's one of the reasons why I love Facebook Live, because you can't fake this. Whenever I haven't had very, very few and 300 plus shows where I've had somebody come on and I'm like, oh my God, you're not being your authentic self.
Wow.
You have to be that way when you're on social media because there's a million other choices, and if people think for a minute you're full of it, they're just going to move on to the other choices. So why would, hey, what's up, Jason? Why wouldn't you just be you? That's what they're buying into. So be you as much as do it all the time, 24/7. That's, again, Facebook Live. When I mess up, you can see it. If Pablo messes up today on the show, you can see it. But there's something organic and vulnerable and authentic about that you can't create anywhere else. And that's why that's one of the reasons why I love social media, because I can look at it and go, oh my God, that is such a, you can tell you're reading off a teleprompter.
Yeah.
Come on, stop. That's why nobody has ever been on the show where I've given them pre-prepared questions.
Sure.
Never, ever, ever.
I tried.
You did, and I'm like, no, we don't do that. Because I have to go off your feet, I have to go off your soul, what you're talking about. And the only way to do that is for me not to have a prepared number of questions in front of me. And I think people misunderstand that. They think they have this image they have to promote out there. Because also social media is full of fakes, people who are pretending to have this amazing life.
For sure.
And then people are judging themselves against it. And I'm telling you, you can tell when somebody is full of it all the time. Macaroon, what's up, Danny? So tell us what people can do on Instagram. So Instagram is mostly pictures. I'm going to tell you my thought process, and then you correct me. Facebook, you have a lot more ability to have a lot more language. Not too much, but you can have a narrative.
For sure.
Instagram is truly very picture hashtag driven. And I think a lot of people don't understand how to use hashtags either.
Yeah.
So if you can talk a little about Instagram and then talk about the importance of and how to do a hashtag correctly.
Well, it's all about demographic, right? So different platforms have different age groups of people who are constantly on there. You know, Facebook, I think, for the majority, has become very, very popular just from all age demographics. You know what I'm saying? Instagram is more for, that younger generation. However, a lot of people have been adapting to it lately. Facebook and Instagram are the powerhouses in social media, And so with Instagram, it's all very picture driven and now has become very video driven,
video driven.
And I think going back to what you were saying, that people are easily able to distinguish whether someone is real or not, I think sometimes people are faking the funk.
I agree.
While other people are just that confident in themselves.
That's correct. That's a great point. Because I think people want to be real, but they're so nervous about, I always tell people, it's me and you and my phone. So don't be freaked out about it. Don't freak out. But it can be very intimidating to watch yourself live, to see the comments
sure,
go
for
across
sure.
there, to make a video, and then you get so caught up in that. But that could be a very authentic person who's just nervous.
Exactly, and so a lot of the challenges we have with our clients. So we'll have because we focus more so on the person than we do on the brand. If the customer or the audience believes in the person, they're automatically going to know what the product or service is.
Agreed.
Right? And so so we focus more on the person, and what we found from our clients is that in doing a lot of their photo shoots and doing a lot of their blogs and video blogs, these are, some of them are attractive individuals, just phenomenal people, great hearts. But when it comes to being in front of the camera or in front of the lens, they like completely shut down.
I know, it's so fascinating to me.
Yeah, and it's because we never knew that we were going to be on something like this.
I didn't know. I thought all of my videos were going to be private.
Yeah.
No, but I think people do. They get so intimidated by it. They say that the joke always is that people would rather die than speak in front of an audience.
Well,
right?
that is the biggest fear is public speaking.
Is this public speaking
This is
to you guys? I
absolutely
mean,
public.
I know it is, but I get it. So I have people literally that freeze up.
And I think when you change your focus more so on the focus being on you in front of the camera, and more so of the responsibility you have to communicate to people, the service that you're doing to them,
Yes.
how you're trying to make their lives better, how you're trying to impact their people. There's a level of responsibility there that once you start focusing on the end goal, which is making someone's life better.
Yes.
It kind of, not that it belittles, but it takes the shine away from you.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And at the end of the day, what we're trying to do right now is literally all the entrepreneurs that are watching, all the business owners that are watching, we're trying to give them the tools to make their lives,
Absolutely.
their businesses better. So it's not really about us being on the camera, but communicating effectively what's going to make, their endeavors better.
So tell us about hashtags. I think this is one of the most, we're misinformed, uneducated, we don't know. I always joke on the show, I'm like, your little made up hashtag, it's real cute, but it's not going to bring you anything. But talk about hashtags. Talk about why that's important and how they're really utilized.
Absolutely. So hashtags is how people find you. Is bottom line how people find you online. So when you post a picture, it only goes out to 10% of your immediate followers immediately, and then Instagram gauges how that 10% engages with your content. And if they see that 10% doesn't engage enough with your content, they're not going to show it to everyone else. That's in your immediate follower database.
I think that's so important for them to hear. Just because you put it out there doesn't mean that Instagram is going to let everyone see it. So they're looking, they're measuring, they're constantly looking at your content. I know you think they're not, but they really are. And how you formulate your content, what it looks like, your consistency, the hashtags, all of that plays into how many people actually get to see your post.
Absolutely. So hashtags is a cheat code. It's a life hack, and using the right hashtags, people are able to find you around the world, depending on what hashtags you use. And if you're trying to grow your audience, if you're trying to grow your followers, hashtags are great ways for a lot of new people to find you, and for you to get a lot more followers, And so to give you guys a cheat code, if you go to displaypurposes.com, you're able to go on there and you're able to put, let's say I could put a hashtag Orlando, and it'll give me all of the top hashtags of Orlando.
Nice.
And so then I'm able to copy purposes.com.
We'll have to share that later.
Yeah, absolutely. And so then you're able to then take those hashtags. So let's say you're mother entrepreneur, then you put that into the box, and then it gives you all the top hashtags for that.
Nice.
And so
I did not know that.
And then you copy and paste, And so so there's a lot of tools out there that help you with building up your audience.
You have to pay attention, right?
You have to.
So Michelle asks a great question. How many hashtags are ideal without it being considered overkill by your followers. I actually think it's not the followers that's overkill, it's the algorithm and Instagram, right?
Yeah, so I'm sorry to cut you off.
No, please.
So
answer.
so there's no such thing as overkill on social media. Like the people who are killing it right now are the people who literally saturate the market. The ones who are posting 4 to 6 times a day. That is overkill, you know? But those are the same people that are crushing it out there.
So it's funny because I feel like this graph is outdated, but there's a graph when I teach this that says when you're supposed to post, how many you should post, and it seems like it's too polite because I think we need to get out of the polite part of it. If we're talking about an algorithm, a business, which is what Instagram and Facebook are, don't kid yourself. They're businesses, and they have an algorithm, and they have a plan, and they're watching everything you do. If you want to be successful in that, you've got to put out more content.
Absolutely. When you think about marketing, you know, the saying goes, when you're tired of your own marketing, that's when people are just catching on. You get what I'm saying?
That's a great point. Say that again. That's
so
awesome.
when you get tired of your marketing, that's the point when people are just catching on, you know? And so you wanna be consistent, you wanna overkill, you wanna saturate the market, you know, because the market is hella saturated right now. Like
it really is.
And so the people who are really, number one, putting the work ethic behind it, and number two, being authentic, they're the ones that are actually crushing, you know, their lane, you know. And so don't focus about oversaturating, don't focus about overkill. No, you want to do that, because at the end of the day, the people that are like, oh my gosh, she's posting too much, oh my gosh, he's posting too much, those aren't the people that are paying for your bills. You get what I'm saying?
Correct.
Those aren't the people
That's
that
a
are
great point.
purchasing your product.
Right.
You know, they are the naysayers, they are the haters. So forget about that. Look up, if you have somebody like, let's say, like DJ Khaled. DJ Khaled, as annoying as you might think he is, or even the Kim Kardashian or the Kardashians.
Oh my God.
These chicks are always
making so much money.
Making so much money online, and we're like, oh my gosh, we're sick of them. We're sick of them. Yeah, because I'm not buying the lipsticks.
Right.
I'm not buying the clothes.
That's another show.
That's another show, right? But then there's a plethora of people globally that are, because of the constant contact that they're putting. So I feel like those people who think, is it too oversaturated? Is it too overkill? Don't focus on what the people are saying, because it's not about them. This is marketing. This is entrepreneurship. This is getting your bills paid. This is sales, leads, conversions, you know? And so you have to be aggressive with it.
So how many hashtags are too many? Is there such a thing?
Well, Instagram only allows you to post 30. Number one.
I did not know that. Right? I've never hit that limit, but that's good to know.
So I post 30.
Do you? So
yeah.
So talk about that, because there are people who say, oh God, you have too many hashtags. But the hashtags, remember, for us old people, hashtags are kind of like how we look at Google and research and find stuff. That's how people use hashtags.
Exactly.
If you're looking for hashtags Orlando, and you're searching for Orlando and you're on Instagram, you're gonna pull up all of the stuff that they can find. And what's great about Instagram is it tells you how many people are using that hashtag at that moment.
For sure.
So you can kind of gauge, but 30 is the max, but you use 30.
Yeah, so they say that, you know, use 5 or 10 and blah blah blah. I always use 30. You know, and I see the engagement from it. So they say that once you go past 5 or 10, that there really isn't much engagement, but I haven't seen the difference in that. You know, I constantly
That's
see
good
that
to know,
engagement.
because I honestly got back to being polite. I thought if I put too many on there, that I was doing too much. And then I would sometimes read, I'm guilty of it, and go, oh my God, how many hashtags do you have? The ones that I think are problematic to me are the ones that aren't real hashtags. They're the ones that are trying to be funny. So if that's your thought process, if you're just trying to be funny and it's a funny hashtag because it kind of goes along with your post, that's fine. But if you're really trying to get the algorithm, you're really trying to attract people,
For sure.
you have to be very purposeful in the hashtags.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a strategy. It's a strategy. It's a life hack. It's a cheat code. You know, and putting more hashtags on your post will make it more available for people to find it, to reach it, being on the Explore page on Instagram and all that good stuff.
So there's so many options out there. You have Facebook, you have Instagram, you have Twitter, you have LinkedIn, you have Pinterest, you have, I mean, there's a Snapchat.
For sure.
What are the ones from a business perspective when you're trying to promote? Are Instagram and Facebook your top two? Are there any other ones that people should really be paying attention to?
Well, so again, it depends on your demographic, right? So like, let's say if your demographic is the 14 to 21 year olds, right? And the product is a lipstick or purses or something like that, you want to be on Snapchat. You know, that's where all of the millennials live. That's why the Kardashians are always on Snapchat. Even though Snapchat is dropping in users, right? That young demographic still uses it. So now having a mature audience, being in real estate, being having a service or product that's for an older demographic, most of that demographic is on Facebook, is on Instagram, and is on LinkedIn. You know, Twitter, they're still on Twitter. Twitter is still trying to figure out what they're trying to figure out.
It's very confusing, Twitter for me. Like if I'm consistent on Twitter, I'll gain anywhere from 5 to 10 followers a day.
Okay.
If I'm consistent.
Yeah.
And these are real followers. They're not the ones that you look at and you go, they have one, you know, there's nobody there. But I feel like I still don't know how to properly utilize that. YouTube's another one. We have a great YouTube channel that is for the TED Show, and I love it because we are working on making it more searchable. But that doesn't mean that everybody needs to be on YouTube. Some of the people who send me YouTube videos, I'm like, wow, you have a whole channel for this.
Yeah.
What are you doing, and why are you doing it? Like, what's the purpose of it? Don't you have to have some sort of intentionality, some sort of purpose in what you're doing? Otherwise, you're all over the place.
Yeah, so like, well, taking YouTube for instance, YouTube is very long form, you know.
Very long.
You know, and so people don't go on YouTube, or really even if you have the YouTube app, people don't spend time scrolling on YouTube.
I just don't, and I don't know what I'm missing, because my kids who are in their 20s, they get a lot of their content, a lot of things that they'll watch videos. Yeah. I don't know how
but they know what they're looking for.
They absolutely know what they're looking for. I would not know what I'm looking for.
Exactly. And so on YouTube, you have to think that people are going to YouTube, again, to kind of do their homework or to find more about you.
Yes.
You know, they're not discovering you on YouTube. You know, like I said, on the YouTube app, people don't spend all day scrolling on the YouTube app. That doesn't happen. People go there, watch a music video, watch an educational video, watch the latest gossip. They know what they're searching for.
Yes, and they find, they hear about it, or they find the particular topic. Fashion's big.
Exactly.
All right, so we are so over time. I
we?
literally just looked at my watch for a split second and thought, wow, we could talk.
We haven't even dove in yet.
You have to come back for more.
I'd love to.
All right, so we're going to share all of Pablo's contact information, how you can reach out to him. Obviously, he is a wealth of knowledge when it comes to this. He has a studio, and we're going to share all of that information, how you can reach out, how you can do some research on Pablo. That was amazing. So any parting words of wisdom, anything you want to share with them before we head out?
Yeah, so I mean, one of the things I would say as far as when it comes to social media, you know, forget about, number one, the oversaturation. You know, you want to saturate.
I love that.
You know, you want to overkill, you know, because when you think that it's overkill, that's when people are just starting to find out about you, number one. And then number two, whatever's holding you back from, because I'm the type of person, I hate being on the limelight. You know, I hate being in the limelight. I hate, you know, the attention being on me. I'm not the selfie type of guy. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
That's just not who I am. However, I do know that I have a responsibility in impacting the community, in teaching, and because of that, I'm automatically pushed to the forefront. You know, so I get that with social media, it's very selfie driven, and it may seem very vain. You know, because a lot of the focus is on you.
It does seem that way.
And it could come off that way. And a lot of people do use it for that way. They can care less. I have friends that have 250,000 followers. I know a chick that has 500,000 followers. And she just uses it She just uses it for vain reasons. Makes no money.
Oh, she makes no money?
500,000 followers.
What is the point?
500,000 followers and doesn't make any money off of it because for them it's just a tool to take selfies and to
I mean,
showcase
I
themselves.
like me, but I don't like me that much. Gosh.
You know? And so I think with anybody who's still kind of like, I don't know about, getting into social media, you need to get over that.
Agreed.
Point blank.
We got to have you come back on.
Absolutely.
Maybe we'll do a little series if Pablo's up for it and teach you guys some things.
Absolutely,
because
would love to.
I think people really are struggling with it. They want to do the right thing. I think most people do have the right intentions. They just don't know even how to make that first step.
Exactly.
And people are so afraid to do anything on social media because, as we all know, it stays there forever.
Yeah.
But trust me, you can't go wrong if your heart's in the right place. You've been a joy.
Thank
He's
you.
amazing, right? What a great show. You were awesome.
Thank you for
so
having me,
much.
Tim.
Thank you, guys. We love you. We'll be back later on this afternoon. Mwah. Happy Friday.